Hello and welcome everybody to the Boom Shakalaka show, the second component or the edition of the show. I know it's been quite a while since the first one was up on the web. My apologies for that. I've been preoccupied with so many other things, but what that has done is it's left me with a lot of things to talk about all the sports that you and I all love. So keep tuned in. We're going to talk about a bit about cricket, a bit about rugby, and also today on the show we have water polo as well. So it's going to be interesting, hopefully, and let's see whether you agree with half of the views that I have to say. So stay tuned.
Shakalaka, 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 shakalaka.
Right, so first up I'd like to talk about the knockout tournament, the school's President's Trophy, Milo President's Trophy. I know it's been quite a while since that concluded, but soon after the first show we had a request from a very faithful viewer of the TheScore.lk to just share my views on what happened at the final. Simple dealio, to be honest. Isipatana was a better team on the day. There's a lot at stake on the game, on the day of the game rather, given that Isipatana and Trinity were both right at the top of the league table, and Trinity initially winning it and then Isipatana being awarded with the league title eventually. So there's a lot at stake, I guess, for both teams. Pride being held at ransom per se, but you have to be honest, there's nothing much wrong with the game. People were on about how the refereeing was a bit dodgy. I for one don't believe that was the case. Yes, both teams, I guess, were at a disadvantage or at times benefited from rather dubious calls, but then again you can't blame a game of rugby on a referee alone. Dinimal tried his best. There were questions as to why a referee who was banned from club rugby at the top level was officiating a high-profile schools encounter, but having said that, I don't think he had a big hand in what the result eventually turned out to be. Unfortunate for Hiranta Pereira, and that is from Isipatana, and Sanjay Somasiri from Trinity, two exceptional players, two players who have represented the junior national side, had terrible days, awful off days on the day, and unfortunately for the two players, that would be their final game in college jerseys. Having said that, super game for the two centres from Trinity. Skipper and deputy skipper Kanil and Tisila had a brilliant game, but having Isipatana also marked them very well, kept them really honest, and made Trinity use them very scarcely. Arun Kumar from Isipatana was absolutely fantastic. I keep saying this over and over again, even in the com box. There's no end to how impressed I am with this young boy's skill levels and talent. He's got a great sense of awareness. He knows exactly what he's doing and when to do it, and he's a very promising prospect for schools rugby and Sri Lankan rugby in general, and one person to look out for. That's my take on the finals of the President's Trophy, Milo President's Trophy 2012. There was talk of some hoo-ha after the game and the referee being assaulted, but as you all know, Dinimal, the referee, came out with a statement saying that no such thing happened. So there will always be talk and some drama created over a high-profile encounter's result. That's what it was, just simple as that. Life goes on. So congratulations to Isipatana coming out victorious in the league and the knockout tournament for 2012. Fabulous work, a school which has a lot of heart and respect for rugby. It's in their blood, and it's fabulous to see a school like that coming at the top, and commiserations for schools like Trinity as well, once again coming in second, and a year which has been so close yet so far for the school from Kandy, but lots to look out for next year. It's just a couple of months away before this the tournament would start again, the season would start again, and lots to look out for. New faces we saw, and so we'll see how it goes next year. So water polo is next on my agenda. Not my forte, to be honest. Don't know much about it. Luckily, we had the services of my good friend Shakalaka singer on the day of the finals, and so the score was in good hands in that sense. But a quick word on water polo for the viewers who enjoy that sport. National finals, women's finals, Vishaka Vidyalaya taking on Navy. Closely encountered game was expected. Navy didn't quite have it easy. Their road to the finals was a shaky game against LC, but then comprehensively beat Bishop's College. So they were inconsistent, and that was what was expected of them in the finals as well. Vishaka, on the other hand, had a very good, impressive tournament, beating LC and Bishop's College quite comprehensively. Eventually, the game, the finals, Vishaka winning 5 points to 4. That's how the women's encounter unfolded. Then the men's, Royal taking on St. Thomas's, a rivalry that goes a long way, and Royal absolutely thumping St. Thomas's in the first half. They went in 8 points to 4 into the break, and Teheragoda for Royal College had an absolute peach of a game, but then STC showed some fight, the true Thumrian grit as they would call it, and came back fighting to draw level 8-8 before dubious decision saw the Royal scoring once more, and they held on to that lead as if their lives depended on it. St. Thomas's may consider themselves unlucky. There's a lot of talk about that as well, but at the end of the day, Royal coming out victorious. So that's water polo, the nationals for you. Getting back to rugby, IRB 7, so much of rugby happened over the last month and a half, so I have to talk about it. IRB 7's World Cup qualifying encounters, I think Sri Lanka did absolutely brilliantly. 3 plate championships and 1 bowl championship. We started off in Borneo, won the bowl there, then from Shanghai to Bombay to Singapore, 3 consecutive plate victories. Very unfortunate to have missed out on an opportunity to finish in the first 3. That would have resulted in Sri Lanka appearing in the 7th World Cup in Russia, if I'm not mistaken. Just a close defeat to China, 12 points to 17 in Singapore, resulted in Sri Lanka having to contest for the plate championship. Very unfortunate, but at the same time absolutely brilliant, because you have to give credit to Fazil Marja and the team. Nigel Ratwate was also good. We had I think a very good team, and Ben, the coach, did quite a good job as well. So it's only good things that we can look forward to in the next year. Once again, I think a lot of hearts were broken once that loss to China was announced. But having said that, you can only congratulate the team on a job well done. 3 consecutive plate victories is not an easy thing to do or achieve. So congratulations, and we'll look forward to next year as to how the Sri Lankan 7 side performs.
Shakalaka, 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 shakalaka.
So moving on from rugby to cricket, the beloved sport of the nation. Funny thing, it's just ironic how these things keep repeating. History keeps repeating itself. So we find Ashanta Dimel at the top of the selection committee, and you see some familiar faces returning to the squad and vying for or competing for a place. Familiar famous faces in the sense of people who have been given a chance, failed, been taken out, given a chance again, failed, taken out. You know what I mean. So that drama continues to unfold. Interesting thing that he said, he wants to come up with a specialist T20 side. I see nothing wrong with it, but in the process he wants to get the likes of Chamara Kapugedara and so on also into the squad. I understand perfectly that Chamara Kapugedara is a hard-hitting batsman, yada, but when you have 90 odd one-day internationals under your belt and no century to show for it, and an average, mediocre average that some all-rounders or low order or tail-enders could match up to, then you seriously have a problem in something or the other. Maybe it's maybe not the talent-wise, but at least temperamentally or mentally, there's something that he needs to work on. And I don't think it's a just call to bring the likes of Kappa into the side just as yet. He will have to perform well if he wants to get into the side again, but I found it absolutely hilarious rather, that the chairman of the selection committee would have that particular name at the top of his mind when considering fresh and specialist T20 side. He did go on to say that the likes of Mahela, Dilshan and Sangha do not possess the capability to clear the boundary. Obviously he's not been watching a lot of matches as to how they go about T20, but I do agree with the fact that Sangha and the likes of Mahela and Dilshan can kind of step down from the T20 side and concentrate on the one days and the test matches, but obviously that's their call and the selector's call. But it'll be really interesting as to how and who ends up in the T20 team eventually when we have a T20 match coming up sometime soon. So something to look forward to, but at the same time I found absolutely hilarious.
Shakalaka, 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 shakalaka.
I will have a bit more about cricket later on, but coming back to rugby yet again, I just want to talk about the Dialogue Rugby Awards this year. Havelocks, as we all know, won the league tournament, and then Kandy the knockout tournament. That was all done and dusted. Sandun Dias coming out as Dialogue's best player of the year. There is no debate about that. He's been a very promising prospect and he's shown his class and promise this season as well. What I found absolutely ridiculous though was that the organizers and the ruling body found it necessary to name best player for every single position of a 15-man team. I don't see the point. I think it's absolute bollocks. Just gives away awards to people who have just performed what they're supposed to do anyways. I think having a best player of the tournament is perfectly fine. I think that should be there, but for every single position that is in the game or the sport, I think that is just not required by any means, and it's just playing into someone's requirement one way or the other. Absolute balls in my opinion. A bit more on schools rugby. The Sri Lanka Schools Rugby Federation, Football Association rather, has decided to revoke the ban on Vidyartha. Surprise, surprise, I don't quite see the reason, and if they were anyways going to revoke the ban, then why did they enforce the ban in the first place? Apparently they've reconsidered the evidence and requests made by certain officials, and thought that the best for the sport was to revoke the ban. My opinion is that if a school or a person is found guilty of breaching the codes of conduct and rules of a particular game and how it's governed in a certain place, you simply have to be punished. There should not be any leniency whatsoever. This has happened before. People have been punished before. People have come out of exile and enforced exile and bans, and they've done well. They've learned a lesson. I'm not quite sure whether this particular school will learn a lesson if you revoke the ban. I have nothing against with that. I have a lot of friends from my schooling days at this particular school, and they're crazy about their rugby. It's a very good rugby school as well, but if you have broken a rule or a condition, you just need to face the consequences. You can't just waltz around it. I don't know why what the purpose was. I can't see a logical explanation, an acceptable explanation as to why this ban was revoked, but that is what the governing body has decided. So I guess we as sports fans will have to just live with it, unfortunately. Absolute balls yet again. I think in that case they have to reconsider all that has happened during the season, the changes in the league table and how the knockout tournament went on to be, but they've just taken this one decision and kind of gone back on their initial decision, and that's the way it has turned out to be. So unfortunate. I don't think it should have happened, and it'll be nice to keep a close eye on how things progress next year as well.
Shakalaka, 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 shakalaka.
So final thing before we go, I'm going to head back to international cricket. Sri Lanka taking on New Zealand in Galle. I think it was a fabulous game of cricket. Unfortunately, it came to an end in 3 days. And how about Herat's performance? You have to give it to that lad. He's been in and out of the side for so many years while Murali was around, but he's just kept knocking on the door, and now the doors have opened and he is making absolutely every match count. He's making his presence felt. He was called the working class hero by Andrew Fernando of Cricinfo, and very much the case. He's always been in and out, and we all remember how he was summoned from all parts of the world when there's something wrong with Murali and somebody needed to substitute as a spinner, and Rangana was always there. It's very heartening and lovely to see a committed and down-to-earth bloke like Rangana Herat doing well and still keeping his calm, and it's a lot to learn for youngsters as well from this lad, and very, very pleasing that things have turned out well for him. Batting department kind of needs to watch out. Middle order wasn't that great, so hopefully they'll work things out in the second test match. Dimuth Karunaratne, fabulous addition to the Sri Lankan squad. I know he came in place of the injured Tilakaratne Dilshan, is missing out on the second match because Dilshan returns. He got a duck in the first innings, but made amends in the second innings. Very much like Adam Gilchrist, his approach to batting is pretty much an onside player, but absolutely brilliant to watch. Reminiscence of Gilly, as I said, and someone to look forward to. I'm wondering whether the selectors made the right call when they made him stay out and not Para. I think Paranavithana has now had a decent run and has not made use of it. I remember when Taranga Paranavithana was part of the SSC side and performing very well, scoring centuries almost every game. I was of the view that he needed to get into the side, but at that time the selectors persisted with the likes of Van Dort and Warnapura, and now that he is given the opportunity in the national side, Para has not performed the way I expected him to, and I'm guessing the way that a lot of people expected him to do. But Dimuth has promised, and I think he needs to get a decent run, and hopefully he will get a decent run, and lots to look forward from that young fella. So that's it for this edition of the Boom Shakalaka show. Thank you so much for joining us. Quick mention about the Facebook page. There is a Facebook page for the Boom Shakalaka show where you can express your views and opinions, and where you can basically post comments as to what you would like me to talk about in the world of sports, obviously. You can find it on the Boom Shakalaka show with Anup Kappa. That's how it goes on Facebook, and you can also post your comments on TheScore.lk and also the Facebook page for TheScore.lk. It's been absolutely fabulous to have brought you this edition of the show. I hope you enjoyed it. We spoke a lot about rugby, cricket and water polo, and hopefully you'll let me know as to what you would like me to talk about in the next edition via the forums that I just mentioned. The Boom Shakalaka Show with Anup Kappa Kapukoto is my page on the Facebook, and then we have TheScore.lk's Facebook page, and also you can use the TheScore.lk website itself to express your opinions, views, constructive criticism, or whatever it may be. Just tell us what you feel and what you would like on the show. Hope you enjoyed this week's or this edition rather. Until I meet you in the next edition or the next program, Boom Shakalaka.
Shakalaka boom boom boom, girl you cause confusion when you walk in the room. Shakalaka boom boom boom, girl you cause confusion when you walk in the room.